the ability to elaborate on something is a deepening in our learning, right? I think it was Einstein
By
that
the way,
said,
you just gave me a gift. You just gave me a gigantic gift.
better
I'm
than a
sorry.
Starbucks card.
Yeah, I'll send you a Starbucks card. That's exactly it because now I have to sit with that for a few minutes. Thank you. That was a gift. I'm just going to talk about what I don't want to say feels good to me, but what matters to me from a place of love.
Oh, I'm glad I was able to land in that way. And what I have found in my own journeys as well is that sometimes we can question, who am I to, right?
Yes.
Who am I, right? The imposter, who am I? But
Yeah.
there are people that are just a year or two behind you in your spiritual evolvement or your relationship evolvement that benefit tremendously by your experience and your openness. And there's this saying that I think is really interesting is the more personal the story, the more universal the teaching. So tell your
Writing
truth.
something down you said, by the
Yeah.
way.
So when you tell your truth, your own experience, there's nothing else for someone to, well, this is my experience. Just like you said in those plant ceremonies, that's me. Like they were telling their own stories,
Yes.
but because there's universal principles underlying each of those stories, that the story itself might have not been your story, but the principle that they were discussing, the way it impacted them, what their learning was an experience that you have. And so when we sit in our desire to be a contribution, right? And that's one of the real places where we all find joy is
Yeah.
how can I add more value sharing my story, my truth, my gifts, my talents. And when you said it, not encouraging people, of course, encouragement's great. The thing I think that some of us need to stay away from, I'll just speak for myself, is to do it in a way that is not attached to that person accepting it in the way that we're seeing it, so that we can get committed to our story and our sharing, but detached from however that person's going to hear it. And so when we keep that committed detachment in our work,
Yeah.
I think that it allows for a much better landing. When we're too committed to somebody getting it, I find that if I do that, I have too much of an agenda, too much of an ego attachment to it to actually be an effective communicator or contribution in
Yeah.
that way.